BVO.
That's it. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.
On behalf of BVO Boxing TV, we would like to thank our sponsor, Raycon. Don't forget to grab your Raycon Everyday Earbuds, the perfect bass model for premium sound, with active noise cancellation to block out distractions and transparency mode to keep you aware of your surroundings. They're ideal for your everyday needs. Just visit rayconglobal.com. That's rayconglobal.com and elevate your listening experience.
Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy BVO Boxing, aka the Kappa Regime of Boxing, man. I'm in the house with my guy, man. My partner in crime, the Puerto Rican Prince, Deep Free, and of course, man, I got the angriest man in news, my man Crush the Legend. What's going on, brothers? How you doing?
What's good? What's good?
Good. So we got a big interview for you guys today. Philadelphia legend, man. A brother who put in some major work. We just wait for him to come through. But before we get started, we got to talk about this, man, because I did not get a chance to say nothing about it. But we just seen Emiliano Vargas with a devastating knockout in the second round. What do you guys think about that?
We gotta travel down this road again. But I know you're not gonna give up on celebrating, the little victory by Emiliano Vargas. But respectfully, salute to him. But we need to see more. We need to see more. I ain't that impressed yet. And we got the legendary, my brother. We already got the legend in the building, Ivan, the mighty Ivan Robinson. Yes, sir. He's in the building. We're gonna let some people get in here. Deep Free, BBO. These my brothers, champ. So they'll be asking you questions along with myself. So we just chopping it up, talking about Emiliano Vargas. Antonio Vargas got some sons, Emiliano, Feliciano, and Armando. How do you feel about Emiliano? Because my brother BBO, he's very big on young Emiliano Vargas.
Brother, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How you?
Good. Appreciate you coming to the show, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me, man.
Appreciate you, man. Shout out to my brother Crush setting this up for us, man. Appreciate you, man.
Oh yeah, definitely, no doubt.
So before we get started, I gotta ask you, man, I'm gonna ask you about a couple guys before we get into the interview. So speaking of new age fighters, man, what do you think about this young kid that got out, former undisputed champion, man, won a belt at 140? What you think about Devin Haney?
I think Devin Haney is a great boxer. It's just we need to see him fight some top guys out there in his weight division, man, and see what exactly can he do to prevail with these guys that's supposed to be the top guys in his weight division. 35 is a big, well-known division. It was a big division when I was out.
Yeah. So speaking of that, when you see another guy down there, a lot of people have talked about him, Lamont Roach. What you think about Lamont Roach possibly moving up to 135?
From what I seen when he fought Tank, I think he has some tools. I don't really think he was pressed to the max where we really need to see all his tools, all his experience that he has. But he talks like he has a lot of experience. He boxed very well. I don't want to be biased. Tank is a great friend of mine. Besides his coaches, Calvin and them, I know them really well by us fighting on that coast with him with those guys. Like I said, Lamont Roach is a great fighter. I think he has the skills to go a long way, and he might upset a couple guys that might just sleep on him.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you about the phenom. Some call him the new De La Hoya, man. What you think about Emiliano Vargas, man?
I only seen him once. I
Okay.
have to see him in there with some top guys. It's always about a guy that's making a statement or that wants to be put in a position where he's a world class fighter. He wants to be a world champion. He wants to be the Ring Magazine champion. He has to go out there. He has to fight those guys, and he has to look real good in doing it.
Yeah, speaking of that, I kind of want to come back a little bit. So, growing up in Philadelphia, what was it like growing up in Philadelphia, man, in the early 70s?
Well, I came around in the 70s, but I fought in the 80s and the 90s, man. I think that was the pivotal time that boxing really took over. I mean, the world really knew what boxing was about. I just happened to be on that bus that drove through the city.
Hmm.
I was a well-known fighter from the city. I had a nice name. I went through the amateurs. I fought guys like Oscar De La Hoya, Frank Pena, Teddy Randolph. I fought all those guys, man. I beat those guys. So, people knew who I was, and they was with me all the way. As you say, they jumped on my bandwagon. And I don't think I let a lot of people down. I went out there and I did exactly what people thought I would do. I went out there and won rather. And a lot of fights that I didn't win, I was competitive. I was really competitive with those guys. It wasn't like the champions blew me away or nothing like that. I was right there with those guys.
Yeah, and the reason I asked you about what it was like when you were a kid in the 70s, because you had the Rocky movies, you had Joe Frazier, driving them cars long as a city block with with his suits on. I mean, you just kind of came up in the city. Of course, one of my favorites, Terrible Tim Witherspoon. I mean, you got all this talent right in front of you. What was that like as a kid, just being a kid before you even got in the game? What was that like?
Um, it was like, I wanted to be there. And looking at those guys fight, being around, Joe Frazier, I lived about 4 miles from the gym. So, and I would go to the gym every now and then and train with the guys in the Joe Frazier gym. I would see Joe,
Mhm.
every now and then he put on a little show for us. So, it was great to be around those guys. And then going home and seeing him, I went home and I wanted, to do some of the things that he done. Um, and it was just remarkable, man. Him and my dad had a nice little relationship. So, when he fought, I was still young. When he fought, around on time in the 70s, late 70s, early 70s, my dad, I'm saying, was a big Joe Frazier fan. So I watched Joe and I was really pleased to know that it was somebody from the city that carried the city very well.
And when you talk about Joe and being from there, did it make it real to you that this could possibly be something you could do with your life by seeing him writing your vision? Because sometimes you see it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has that mindset that they wanted to be a Joe Frazier or they wanted to be in that rankings or be around to fight the guys that were in their class or the names that was being thrown at the time they was in there. Of course, Joe was like our big brother. Joe was like God, man. I mean, we went to the gym, we seen him, we seen him train, we seen him fight, and of course we wanted to be right where he was at.
Yeah, and speaking of that, did you grow up with your mother and father, or did you just grow up with your mother, or just your father? How did you grow up? How was it when you
I
growing up?
grew I grew up with both. My dad was my trainer. My mom, she didn't really like boxing too much, but after I, start winning and I got to the escalate, she was just like, "Son, look, if this is something you want to do, put your heart to it and work on it very hard." And that was something that I always did. I trained hard. Plus, I had my dad on me day in and day out, and it was crazy because when I thought that I had time off to relax, no, my dad was on top of me, making me work even harder because we had a little gym in our basement. So
Hmm.
the how can I say, the edge that I had on a lot of fighters was that When they went to the gym and they trained and it was done, it was done. They went home. They probably went out in the street and played basketball, football, or hung out with their friends. When I went home, my dad was on top of me. Well, you didn't do this today in the gym. We're going to work on this. You know what I'm saying? I had to be in bed at a certain time. I had to be up at a time. Then I had time to study. I didn't really have time to spend too much with my friends until I got older. But the time that I spent before I got older to start hanging with my friends, it was nothing but training.
Yeah, because speaking of that, one thing I was reading about you today, and they said you always had a big heart, man. Where does that come from? They say you always been a giver. Where did that come from? So that,
I guess that came from my mom because my mom was a giver. She loved to give. She had dinners at our house with our friends. Back then we had our friends that came over and spent the night. My mom would always orchestrated it and made sure that it went smooth. If friends was coming over, the opposite friends and family, they moms and dads knew that they was at our house. But when I had to go train, they had to leave. I had to do my training. They had to go.
you said it had to go.
They had to go. Dad didn't play that.
Hey, so one more thing I want to ask you, then I'm gonna kind of pass it around to a couple guys that want to hear something from you. So growing up, man, I gotta ask you this, man. In the '70s, man, as a little kid, did you notice how big Bill Cosby was, or not really? Because you were living there.
Not really. No, I didn't know.
Yeah, and the reason I say that is they don't talk about Dr. Cosby as much, but I feel like you wouldn't have a Barack Obama without Bill Cosby and what he did, and I just kind of wanted you to kind of speak to what he meant to Philly, in your opinion.
Well, from my understanding, Bill was like Bill was like the mayor of the city of Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? Bill did some great things coming along. He made ways for us to do certain things. He gave way for us to sit back and watch his sitcoms, his commercials, all that type of stuff. And the crazy thing about it, him and my dad grew up in the same area at the time. But my dad, he was just a laid back type of guy. His main thing was he wanted to basically work with me and make me stay focused and keep me focused. Made sure that I always did what I had to do in school. I was talking to a school last week. I forget the name of the school. It's on Coppin Avenue. And I was telling them when I used to go to school in the morning, my dad used to take and drop me off. I would think my dad would go home and, because he had to work. So I figured he would go home and get ready to go to work. I go to class. I'm sitting in class doing work because I used to sit in front of the class. And I would be wondering why my classmates would be looking at me, laughing at me and teasing me. I'm like, what are y'all doing? We're supposed to be doing our work. It was like, looking back, I turn around, my dad in back of the class watching me. I'm like, this guy here, crazy. But at those times, those was the times that our parents could come to the school and check on us and come to our class and talk to our teachers and stuff like that. So, I grew up that way.
Before I give it past the first one, I ask you this: tell me a little bit about your father, man, because you sound like he was a big influence on you. You sound like a great man. Tell me a little bit about him.
Man, my dad's still with me. Actually, I manage a guy named Dominique Mayfield. He's a heavyweight. My dad trains him. My dad been with me my whole career, man. Like I said, in elementary school, my dad used to get me up early in the morning. I would have to run before I go to school, come back home, eat breakfast, get my school books and stuff together, and my dad would walk me to school. After school, my dad be at the end of the block, where the school was at, with my gym bag, and I used to have to walk with him to the gym for about 5 or 6 miles. We go to the gym. I put in 2 hours in the gym. After the gym, I go home. I do my homework. I had about an hour and a half, 2 hours before I went to bed. Either I would watch TV or even my dad would be on me about what I did in the gym that day that he didn't like. But, he'd been with me the whole time. My dad just got inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
Pennsylvania Boxing Hall of Fame. And everybody in the boxing industry that knows me know my dad.
Did he end up crying or no? You didn't get the old man to cry when he went to the Hall of Fame?
No, actually, he did cry, and I never seen my dad cry in my 50. Let me see. He got inducted last year, so I just turned 54. 53 years. I never seen my dad cry until he got his award.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Go ahead. I got my brother Puerto Rican Free. He look like a brother, but he Puerto Rican. So let him fool you, man. You gotta watch him. Go ahead, Free. Got something for us.
What's going on? What's going on, Ivan, man?
What's
Been
up,
a
Camp?
while.
How
It's
you
been a
feeling?
while. It's been all right. It's been a while since we talked. Um, I know you fought a lot of good names in your career, like Angel Manfredi, Toro Gotti,
Right.
Emmanuel Augustus. How tough was Emmanuel Augustus in his prime when you fought him? How tough was he?
Well, I tell everybody that don't know Emmanuel Augustus because that was the name that he was at the time until he changed his name again. But I fought Emmanuel Augustus in '94. Um, I had fought everybody. I beat everybody put in front of me, but they kept saying that I didn't have a test that I needed because of my next fight before Emmanuel Augustus, after Emmanuel Augustus, was my world championship fight with Philip Holiday. I was number one in the world, so they kept saying that they wanted me to fight someone that they felt as though that I really needed to be tested. So what happened? We were supposed to fight Lionel Butler, but Lionel Butler suffered an injury. So, me back then, it didn't matter to me who I fought because I felt as though that, I was one of the best 135s because Oscar was ahead of me at the time, but I still felt that I was one of the best lightweights in the world. So they was like, well, since you feel as though you the best, we're going to give you a kid that you can fight. We had like 3 or 4 guys that was supposed to fight, but they pulled out. So then finally, like 2 weeks later, we had Emmanuel Augustus. I think Emmanuel Augustus' record at the time was 8-6. But back then you couldn't really look at an opponent that you was gonna fight and be like, oh well, he fought this guy. This guy was a bum. This guy. It wasn't like that. Emmanuel Augustus came to fight, and man, when he fought me, I mean, this guy gave me trouble. But the thing was, I thought that always was good with me in my career was that I had my dad. And I never forget it. The second round, my dad walked up to the ring, and I had Odell Cathay, and it was Odell Cathay was the lead trainer. My dad was the assistant because my dad, he's the type of guy he don't like to be in the spotlight. He don't like nobody coming up talking to him. He don't like nobody saying, "Oh, you're great." He don't like that. So he just played the back. But I'll never forget it. The second round, he took the lead. He came up in the ring, got in between my legs where all the trainers be at with the fighters, and he smacked me. And he said, "I don't know what the hell you're doing." Well, I was on, and I think that was my first TV fight. He
Yeah.
smacked me and he said, "I don't know what are you doing, but you need to get yourself together because you're gonna let this kid go in there and beat you." And that changed the whole fight. That changed. I mean, I didn't get rid of him, but I beat him. I mean, I beat him good. And that was the tough fight right there. From that fight on, I had a bunch of great fights, tough fights, but Emmanuel Augustus was the one who started that escalade for me to fight the tough guys and be ready for them, man. I mean, he was just the type of kid, he could fight, but he was always on the losing side, man. I mean, his record, you could not, despite his record for how he fought, he was a fighter, and I love the guy, man. I'm sorry that he had got hurt, but he seemed to be doing pretty good nowadays.
Yeah. Who was the toughest fight you had? If you can go back and look at all your fights, what was the one fight you say, you know what, this dude really pushed me?
Um, Well, if we talking about early in my career, because when I fought Otero, I think I was about 26 or 27. At the time, besides Emmanuel Augustus, Otero Gatti was my toughest fight. And then later, I'm talking about like I retired in '05, and my last fight in '05 was Julio Cesar Chavez. Chavez was the hardest guy in because actually you figure at 35, a fighter should be absolutely, done. And that fight with Julio Cesar Chavez proved to me that my days were behind me.
All right, I'm gonna pass
So
someone up.
speaking
I'm
of
gonna pass
that,
to the prime. Oh, go ahead, BBO.
So speaking of that, one thing I want to ask you, they call you Coach Mighty now. What gave you this? How did you get the love for children training, and because you put so much into this, man? How did you get that love for the kids? And that's one thing I always hear about Coach Mighty with the kids.
I everybody knows me as a boxer, but throughout my career, that's what I love about my dad because my dad he wasn't a one dimensional type guy. Like for instance, from the time I was an amateur, I
Mm-hmm.
just missed making the Olympic team. Um, every summer, my dad would give me off when everybody else was trying to fight to get a spot to make the Olympic team or be number one in the world. My dad, all he didn't care what it was, but every summer he gave me off to do what I wanted to do. And some summers I played baseball, some summers I played football. I never played hockey. I don't like hockey. I don't like tennis. Or even I hung out with my friends. But boxing was always, the love for me. Like he didn't care what it was. The summer I had off. If I snuck in the basement and tried to hit the bag or do some training, I got in trouble. So, my dad was he just was a different type of, guy, man. He wasn't just my father. He had me and my two other brothers call him best buddy. That's just how he was. He was our best buddy, man. I can't really express what it is about my dad that I love so much about him, man. And people that know me, that know my dad has always been that type of guy. He don't just love me and love what I do. He loved the people. He loved kids, man. We got about 7 kids that's from the ages of 8 to 14. And it's like my dad just clinged to those guys, man. Study him training the kids, the men and the kids that we got in the gym. He put most of his time with the young kids. It's like he trying to groom them to make sure that they become what they want to become.
Yeah, I got my man from Middle Georgia in the house, man, Dub Rice. Go ahead, Dub. I know you got your questions.
Salute, Coach. What's going on, man? How you feeling?
How you doing, Doug?
Hey, I can't call it, man. I can't call it. I wanted to ask you, man. I know when you had that split decision with Gotti, right? I believe that ended up being like fight of the year, something like that. Man, what was that fight like? What do you remember about that fight? And what was so tough? Gotti, we done seen him in some wars, some battles, and for you to go in there and you beat him twice back to back, gave the man the rematch. So, what was special about Gotti? And what were you able to exploit in that fight?
Well, what was special about Gaddy was that we knew he was like Rocky. You know what I'm saying? He never quit. He always, it doesn't matter. He always had that one punch power where he could turn a fight in a split second, just like a baseball game. You could be winning the game, and all it takes is a split second for a guy to hit a home run and the team just wake up. That's the type of guy Gaddy was. And it was crazy because my first championship fight when I fought Philip Holiday, it was crazy. I was signed to main events with Arturo Gatti, Pernell Whitaker, Meldrick Taylor, Evander Holyfield, Terrell Biggs. But I was in camp with Pernell Whitaker. I went to Norfolk, Virginia. And it was just crazy that me getting ready for the Philip Holiday fight, they put me in camp with Pernell Whitaker and Arturo Gatti. Now, one, you figure Pernell Whitaker is at that time, Pernell Whitaker is one of the best ever to do it in boxing. You know what I'm saying? And even the reason why I say that is because, for one, he's a southpaw. Not too many southpaws you see nowadays with the style and the class and the finesse that Pernell had. And it was just crazy that they put me in the ring with Pernell. And at the time when I went to camp with Pernell, I was 22-0. And I had a little chip on my shoulder. Nobody could beat me. Nobody could actually be on the same level that I was on. And it was like me and Oscar was running neck and neck. I was just wondering when I was going to get my shot at Oscar, but I got the shot at Philip Holiday. But I went and sparred Pernell. And I've been in many camps and I've done well in many camps and held my own in camps. But when I went to camp with Pernell, that was something totally different. I mean, the first 2 days I was there, I got there late. The first 2 days I got there, him and Gaddy spar. And man, I mean, like, that was just like crazy. I mean, Purnell was doing whatever he wanted to do to Gaddy, you know, but Gaddy had a big heart. So Gaddy stood in there with him. But what the crazy part was, I spent 8 weeks in camp with Purnell and Gaddy. Never, ever sparred a day with Gaddy. Never, ever sparred a day with Gaddy. So, you know, I went on to fight Philip Holiday. I lost to Philip Holiday. Then I came back and I defended my USBA title. But that was the first time, you know, me being in that championship era around great champions and doing great things. You know, I got kind of big headed and I got kind of fat for the USBA title fight after losing to Philip Holiday because I was so distraught on that because I actually thought I won and a lot of other people thought I won. But I put on weight and it was hard to get the weight off. So I got the weight off, but I lost to Israel Cardona. And I fought another kid about 2 months later in Philly, and I stopped him. And we was trying to get us a fight. And there was like my manager Eddie Woods was trying to get us with it. We tried to fight Shane Mosley, we tried to fight Oscar De La Hoya, but we kept getting turned down. And I was to the point like I was really getting frustrated. Now Gaddy had just fought Angel Man Freddy and lost to Angel Man Freddy. After he lost to Angel Man Freddy, it was like they was like they need somebody for Gaddy for a comeback fight. And I had just beat I can't remember the kid name, but I beat him in Philly and I was trying to get a fight. Couldn't get a fight. Shane Mosley was getting ready to defend his title in Philly. And I was saying to myself, and I said to my manager, I'm like, well, Shane Mosley coming from California to Philly to defend his title, but how you gonna come in my city and not say he give me a shot? So what I did, I went down to the press conference that he had, and me and Shane Mosley got into a verbal discussion down there. It got to the point that we was throwing chairs, we was about to fight each other. They was just like, look, since y'all two want to do this, y'all might as well go ahead and fight. So I signed the fight, Shane Mosley, down at the Leah Core Center. No, my fault, down at the Spectrum. And the fight that I had before that, I got cut, but they told me that the cut wouldn't reopen. So I went in camp to get ready for Shane Mosley, but the cut reopened in camp, and I had to X out the fight with Shane Mosley, and I was mad because honestly, I know Shane was the #1 guy in the world. He was champion. He had just came off of beating Philip Holiday, a guy that I lost to a couple months before that. And you know, people was like, Mighty, why you want to take that fight? I'm like, because that's the fight that I want. I want Shane Mosley. So fight was set. We was gonna fight, but the cut reopened, and I was out the fight with Shane Mosley. I was hectic. I mean, I was going through it bad. So I told my manager, I said, look, man, I said, either you gonna get me a fight with somebody or we're gonna have a problem with our contract. So he kept coming back to me saying, Ivan, I can't get a fight for you. I can't get a fight for you. I said, excuse my expression, I said, man, that's bullshit. So I happened to go to sleep, and I got a phone call about 3 a.m. from a manager. So I'm like, what's up, Eddie? He like, I got a fight for you. So I'm dead asleep, but I'm just waking up, kept answering the phone. And when he was like, I got a fight for you, but man, it's a tough fight. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, can't nobody be tougher than Philip Holiday or anybody else. I mean, I've just about fought him all. He was like, you sure? I said, yeah, I want it. He said, you gonna fight Arturo Gatti? I said, who? He said, Arturo Gatti. I said, no. I said, you crazy. He's like, yeah. I'm from Philly. I don't care. I'll fight your mom if you tell me to. I was like, man, let's go. We signed the contract. I was already in camp because I was hoping I got a fight, but I didn't want to be out of shape. That Gaddy fight, man, was the fight that, you know, put me over the edge. I was a 5-1 underdog. The only thing I hate about that Gaddy fight, I'm not gonna say I hate, but the only thing I think I didn't do, you know, you always feel as though you make the right decisions and you make right moves and doing the right thing. The only thing I think I No, not the only thing I think. The only thing I know I didn't do right in that fight. I didn't bet on myself, and I was
Oh,
a
I
five.
thought, man.
Yeah, I was a 5-1 underdog. 5-1 underdog.
Oh man.
Man, you know how many? I mean, it was crazy. I had buddies that I knew that was locked up. Them jokers was telling me they was in jail betting on me, man, to win. And them guys said they won so much money. I was so mad. I was like, man, this is crazy. And then even the second fight, I didn't even bet on myself the second fight. And it was, I mean, normally they always say that you have a God number, or sometimes it don't never turn out the first fight. The second fight don't never turn out the way the first fight turned out. But I just knew that Arturo Gatti couldn't beat me if we fought every day of the week. It was just because I was the better boxer. I had the better hand speed. I was just better all around. My slip game was good from thanks to Purnell. My hand speed was just better. The only thing that I kind of lacks in my career, and I always ask God why he never gave me that, was punching power. If he would have gave me punching power and I still had the skills that I had, I'd have been up there. I would have fought a joker like Floyd. I would have fought anybody. But still, even in that case, even with me not having a punch of power, I fought anybody they put in front of me.
So speaking of that, I want my man Prize. He's from Philly. He wants to ask you a couple questions. Go ahead, Prize.
Nah, shout out to you, Coach Mighty. I've
Thanks,
been a
baby.
fan. I've been a fan of you for a long time. I actually met you at 2300 in South Philly. It was
Uh-huh.
fights going on. I met you there. You was real cool. But 1998, when you was the Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year, what did that do for you at the time? Because I know for us in the city it was big, but what did it do for you, and how did it make you confident moving forward?
Well, see, I've always I always been the type of guy that it doesn't matter. I always been confident in my whole career, even when it was times when they put me in fights that they felt as though that I couldn't win, or they put me in fights that they thought that I was just gonna get blasted. I just, regardless, in the the late '80s, early '90s, I just felt that I was just one of the best fighters in the world. I got a little credit for it. I didn't get the big credit, but it is cool. I understand it. I don't care if people don't give me the credibility that I deserve. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, if you're a fight fan, if you really know the sport of boxing and you love the sport of boxing, my name come up somewhere along the lines of those tough fighters back then. I even been catapulted to some of these fighters nowadays. I mean, to me, I just love the fact that people just know who I am. I don't care about the accolades of me making a whole lot of money or not making a whole lot of money or not living in a big home. I'm pleased where I'm at. I love what I do. I love working with the kids. I just love doing what I do. That's all.
So speaking of that, man, I want to ask you something that's a little different. But what do you think about what we're seeing, especially in Cleveland, is where I'm from, and Philadelphia? What do you think about all the unfortunate gun violence you're starting to see in the inner city with the young men? Does that bother you at all, man? Because we really seeing the next generation kind of throwing it all away, if that makes any sense.
You're definitely right. The gun violence is really crazy. I've always said, like I said, me and my dad, we always had a real close, tight knit relationship, and I got a close, tight knit relationship with my two brothers. It's just always that if you put me and my two brothers in the same pot together, of course, I'm going to be the one with the bigger, following and the bigger name and the most that people know because of what I've done in my career. But the gun violence is just crazy. Like I said, when I'm talking to my dad, sitting back talking to my dad, listening to the music that he listened to in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and how he came up. My dad he grew up down Richard Allen. No disrespect, but it seemed like whoever you talk to, everybody came from Richard Allen. I mean, Richard Allen was one of the biggest apartment complexes in the city of Philadelphia. You know, I
Yeah.
don't think there's nobody you don't talk to in the city of Philly that never has any type of ties to Richard Allen. It was just different back then. My dad would
That
tell
was
me
like
how
y'all's
guys.
Greeny Green, like in Chicago. That was like y'all's Greeny Green. That was y'all's big project.
What's that?
I don't know if you've been with the Greeny Green. I said so. That was like y'all's big project, the one you were speaking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You know, back then, you know, if a guy had a problem with another guy, you know, he just took it out to the streets and they duked it out. I mean, the best man won. If the guy lost, it was what it was. But nowadays, you know, it's just kind of crazy how everybody got to get a gun and want to shoot a person, and the person that has the gun or gets the gun don't know anything about fighting. He don't know how to throw his hands. He don't know how to step off throwing with a jab or hitting a joker with an overhand right or even smacking a joker. You know, everybody want to run and get a gun and feel that they invisible by, you know, using a gun. I just try to tell the youngsters nowadays, you know what I'm saying, if you feel that you're that annoyed, if you feel as though that you have that much pressure on you where it's taking you to that, come to the gym. I guarantee you, whatever you feel as though you can do out in the street and you come in the gym, I guarantee you can't do it. I guarantee you can't do it. And I, you know, each and every day, you know, I talk to these guys every day. Like I said, I got about three or four young amateurs that I have from the ages of like 14 to 18. And my job is to teach them um, the respect, teach them life, teach them how to be young men nowadays. And my three guys that I train every day when I leave the gym with them, I make sure that they text me to let me know they home or they call me. I'm on them every day about their schoolwork. I'm up at their school checking on their teachers, making sure their teachers giving them the right work and making sure they're not getting by doing it just because a lot of teachers know that these kids are in the gym and they can be something with themselves. I don't want these kids to feel as though they can, you know, skip a lesson or not do a lesson because they doing something that's positive for themselves. No, like I tell every kid that I train, school is first. You
Yeah.
guys can't sign contracts. Y'all guys don't know how to sign on a dotted line. Y'all guys can't count money. You don't know how much money you need to get if you're not going to school. That's number one. If I don't have a kid that's an AB student in school and he giving the teacher trouble and he acting crazy outside his house, I don't want to see him. There's no need for him to come to the gym. That's not going to be an scapegoat for you to do what you would need to do something stupid out in the street. So you want to come to the gym to get through it? No, I'm cool with that. I'm all right. I'm not all right with that.
So we got a couple of guest questions before we get back to what I wanted to ask you. Salute to
Go
my
ahead.
man
No problem.
Piro. Piro says, Champ, do you remember fighting Pitbull's dad? You know,
You know, it's crazy because excuse me for cutting you off, it's crazy because we was all in the gym the other day talking about that. And you know, they was talking about Isaac Pitbull. And I was saying to them, I was saying, you know, Isaac is a great puncher. But in order for Isaac to beat you, you gotta stand in front of him.
right.
He gotta be throwing wild shots. He gotta
Mhm.
connect with something wild in order to hurt you or knock you out. A great boxer that has great footwork, great hand speed, can box that has pretty I don't want to say have great defense, but has pretty good defense, they'll beat him all day. The difference between the young Isaac Pitbull and the difference is the dad. He used his jab more, although he couldn't beat me, but he gave me a tough fight. I think he was my first toughest fight. I fought him down at the Blue Horizon. And he came in there. He didn't care nothing about me. He didn't care who I was or nothing. He came right in and he was going to just manhandle me and just beat me to the ground. But he couldn't do it. I was just too quick for him. I gave him too many angles. And I just, you know, beat him up. But the thing was, after a while, he just decided that he couldn't catch me. What he started doing, he started hitting me below the belt, hit me all on my cup, hit me all on my hips. He got disqualified at like round 6 or 7. But he was tough. He was really tough.
Let me ask you this: does that Rocky Marciano stuff work? Hitting you on the hips, the arms, the chest?
No disrespect, but ask Bernard. Bernard was the king of that.
Oh,
Bernard did that well. Bernard did that well.
you
It worked.
go ahead, Dub. I'm gonna read another one before you go ahead. Go ahead, Dub.
I was just gonna say real quick, Coach. I know you were talking earlier about the three fighters you're training, and how you showing up at the school and making sure they getting their lesson, trying to put the right things first, And can you tell us who those three young guys are, and what's your thoughts on them, real quick?
Well, the first one is Sion. Think he's 14. He been with me for about 2 years. He's coming along real good. His grandma and his mom and his grandpa, they work with me real well. They made sure that I know everything that's going on with him in school. I get every marking period. I get his grades. He's doing good. I think he got a B average right now. He's doing well. This is a kid that my dad really loves. My dad really loves this kid, and I think it's a kid that's gonna uh, be something in the years to come. If this is something that he decides to do, he seems to be really, really great at it. Another kid I have named what's his name? We call him Spence because he looks just like Earl Spence.
Okay.
He's 15.
Before
He's
or after?
about huh?
Look like Spence after the Bud fight or before?
No, he looked like Spence Perry before the Bud fight.
You out of order, baby.
You
You
know I
out of
gotta
order.
mess with you.
Y'all got it silly. He's 15. He's an A student. Great kid, great boxer, punches pretty well. Gotta kind of like um slowing down right now because he's really hyper. He hits you with a good shot, he want to go crazy. So we getting him right with that. And then the last kid, my favorite, his name is Nadir. Great kid, man. He's a great body puncher. Stays on top of you. He's another kid with great grades in school. Mom keeps me up to date with what's going on with him. I done talked to a couple of his teachers. Actually, one of his teachers was is a photographer. He came up to the gym one day to take pictures of the kid, and I guess he's the type of kid. He's real laid back, quiet, don't say too much. So when the teacher came up to the gym to see him work and seeing him actually in his boxing attire and doing what he was doing, he was shocked. So it's great to have him. Then I got another coach that I work with named Mike Miner. He's a great guy. We got 3 guys right now that's in the Golden Gloves finals. They fight in the finals this Saturday up 69th Street. And just trying to, only thing I want to do, man, is just try to keep kids positive and keep them on the right track. I know my dad used to always say, if you got the old saying is one kid can spoil the bunch of apples if he's bad. But I don't see that with my kids. I see all my kids, they right on point. They do their schoolwork. They come in the gym. They work hard. The only thing now is just getting them prepared to go out here and battle. That's the name of the game right there. Is just having these kids go out there and putting their talent to use and knowing what they can do. I can keep these kids off the street, keep them in the gym. I don't want. I'm halfway won the battle.
I'm gonna read this comment to you real quick, Coach. Leading Lady Dora said, "I just want to give honor where it's due. This man gives his heart. He trains with his heart. Don't get all the credit he deserves. A lot of nice town area. Hold on. He got a lot for the nice town area and surrounding area. One thing I wanted to say that I was just wondering, will you have such a rich history of like the Nation of Islam in your city, right? Does it kind of
Mm-hmm.
confuse you to see so much, so many young kids kind of misguided because the drill music, I think, it's something from the Midwest. That demonic music has made it out to you guys. I know how demonic it is being from Cleveland, but what do you think about that? Surprising with the rich history of love and care. You call the city of brotherly love. Does it shock you sometimes how violent these young kids are?
Definitely, it really is. I mean, I mentioned it to my guys yesterday. It's just amazing how our kids get sidetracked on doing the right things and doing the wrong things. I mean, when you sitting right there and you knowing that if you go straight, you're gonna you're gonna hit the pot of gold. But instead of going straight, you want to go left. I don't understand it. I don't know what it is. And I sit here each and every day and I try to come up with a different plan or a different strategy to make things easy and better for these guys. Cause like I have young kids that I train. I can't keep going to the gym and training them, saying, look, I want you to do this. At the end of the day, it's something that they gotta work for. Like my guys are trained all week and work hard. So at the end of the week, maybe we might go out and I might take them down to the park and run them, or take them down the park to just have some fun, or I might just take a handful of them and we go to the fights on Friday and see some pro fights. See what they really got themselves into, and see what the position that they can be in if they stay positive, not negative. It's just too much negativity in the world nowadays.
Yeah, and the reason I bring these questions up is because I think a lot of times there's this mentality, oh, it don't affect me, so it don't matter. So I always like to try to get with different people, especially someone like you who's putting the work in, boots on the ground doing it, because it's not easy to do. But I just want to ask you a couple things, miss, to have some fun before you get out of here.
Go ahead.
So
I have all night.
There's been a big debate, and me and my brother Puerto Rican Free have been doing this for 2 years now. Who won that fight? Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy, or Pernell Whitaker?
Pernell Whitaker.
Come on, come on, you watching?
See, we've
The only
been
one that thought he
trying
won
to
the
tell
fight
you this, man. We've been trying to tell you.
for years.
We've been going back and forth. You said, hold on, you said Oscar, right? You said Pernell.
I ain't say no Oscar. I said Pernell.
Oh, I thought you said Oscar, man.
No, Pernell. Come on, man. No.
Oh, because he dropped him? Or you saying that because he dropped him? That's the only reason y'all say that, huh?
What? That Pernell, that Oscar won?
No, that
Or
they said
Pernell?
Pernell because he dropped Oscar by accident.
You don't get dropped by accident. But I'm not saying that Pernell, I'm not saying Pernell beat him because of the simple fact that he dropped him by accident. I'm just saying that even though Pernell was older at the time and Oscar and he was just probably transforming into his man stage where he was getting all his man strength and all that. But Pernell still outboxed him. Okay, I understand that. Oscar hit Pernell with some great shots, but at the end of the day, Pernell outboxed Oscar just hands down. He outboxed him just like when I fought him. I didn't outbox him. I beat Oscar at his own game. I fought him and still beat him, but didn't get the decision. I mean, that's just how it is sometimes.
Well, let me ask you this. Now, when y'all fought, that was a good fight. But was it Oscar's power? What most shocked you about him? Because you kind of stepped to him as if you didn't know he was the Golden Boy. What made you do that?
Well, first of all, the first fight was like I was just I think I was in my second year in the Golden Gloves, and nobody really gave me the opportunity to win. I mean, like, we would like I was real tight with guys like Mark Johnson and those guys from DC. They like my brothers, and we always traveled together. So I had to fight them guys. Sean Bay Mitchell, I beat those guys. When I beat those guys, then it was like I was on my way to the National Golden Gloves. And I heard about Oscar, but I didn't care about Oscar. You know what I'm saying? He was just somebody that I felt as though that everybody was talking about because he won it the year before that. Hey, he just happened to win it, but it didn't matter to me. I was going out there to claim the Golden Gloves for Philadelphia. But I beat everybody that I was supposed to beat, and he went and he beat everybody he was supposed to beat. So it was now me and him. It was just like people was telling me about, oh man, this guy good, this, that, and other. He wasn't that good. But one thing that I did notice about Oscar,
I
his
see how
jab.
you did that.
What?
You
What's
said he
that?
wasn't that. You cool, man.
He wasn't that
You're talking
good.
about De La Hoya, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Delaware. I mean, he was good, but like the way that people was talking about him was like he was a world beater. He wasn't no world beater. I mean, if he was a world beater, he should have stopped me. He should have beat me. He should have beat me to a pulp. And I think
No,
the last
no,
two
no,
guys.
Coach, no, Coach.
No,
You
I'm
feel like you in
serious
the bump,
because
no.
because the
You was
last two
good.
guys he
No,
fought
stop.
before. No, because the last two guys he fought before he fought me in the finals, he destroyed those guys. I think he stopped one in one round and he stopped the other one in the second round. And it was just like it was already I had already lost before I stepped in the ring, but that wasn't the case. I wasn't even worried about that. But one thing I did notice about him, his left hand was strong. So
Yeah.
come to find out years later, because me and Oscar, we kind of grew a nice little friendship, but it wasn't a great friendship. It was like more like a high by, or we was on an Olympic team. We hung together because we was in different parts of the country together, and we stuck together because we was Americans. And we Americans, people like Cuba and all, they didn't like us like that, so we had to stick together. But what I did notice about Oscar, like I said, he had a very strong left hand. I mean, he could punch right through you with his left hand. And I never really knew nobody who had a great jab like that except for George Foreman. But the reason that I found out Oscar had such a great jab because he was converted from a southpaw to a left-hander.
Yeah,
So but other than that, I mean, look at our last two fights. I mean, hands down. I mean, if you didn't see I won those fights, then I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know. I wouldn't even say that you're a boxing fan.
oh, you cold, Coach. Those was
Hey man,
close. Those was
I'm just
close.
saying.
Those was
I'm just
close. But
saying.
he's talking about. We got. Hold on. We got.
Huh?
Let me clear this up because I know people don't know the coach just playing. Oscar De La Hoya is probably one of the greatest living fighters ever. So even being in the ring, man, says a lot about you as a fighter, man. Because
Thank you. Appreciate it.
people forget Oscar beat Floyd. I always wanted to ask you that, man. Did Oscar beat Floyd? Because his dad says so. What did you think, Coach?
That's a tough one right there. That's really a tough one because I mean, Floyd was picking Oscar off with a lot of close shots. Every time Oscar would, step forward, Floyd would hit him with them little sneaky uppercuts and left hooks, right hooks and stuff like that. And Oscar only got off when he got really close enough. But that wasn't where Oscar needed to be. Oscar could punch from long range and he could hurt you from long range. But Floyd didn't let that happen. Floyd fought Oscar in a shoebox. And that's what made, I think that's what won the fight for Floyd against Oscar, fighting him in the shoebox. And Oscar didn't really know too much of how to really box Floyd. All he thought that he had to do was just get inside and beat Floyd. He never thought Floyd would be that great at throwing short shots like he did. Floyd is a master at that. I got to give him that.
Yeah, he ran, but I feel what you're saying though, Coach. He ran from Oscar, but I feel what you said. Let me ask you this. Now you came up in the same era as Pretty Boy Floyd. Is it
Mhm.
true that he had all the lightweights afraid of him? That's kind of how he always put it. Was that true, or that's just an overstatement?
That's an overstatement. Honestly, I don't think. I mean, Floyd is probably one of the best ever. I mean, you can't. Even though we don't like Floyd because a lot of things that he did, and I think he kind of how can I say it, tarnished boxing a little bit by the things that he done and how he did it. But I mean, the man is a genius. I mean, he done things. He's like 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? He doing things that we boxers would have never thought. Who would ever thought a guy could make 50 million doing a celebrity boxing joint? Nobody. Nobody thought about that these days. Nobody ever thought about anything like that happening. Nah. So yeah, we got to give Floyd credit where credit is due.
Yeah. Speaking of Floyd, one thing I always wonder, what made him so great? Was it the? Because I look at Floyd as like a mutant because I don't think Floyd was fair because he was a bunch of different people in one. Was that kind of what made him treat? Because he has so much. He has some Pinnell in him. He has some, of course, Sugar Ray Leonard in him. I thought I had a lot of. I thought he had a lot of. What's the guy's name? Roberto Duran with the fight in the pocket. So what? what was his best attribute in your opinion? Because he was a mix of a bunch of guys. I thought.
You asking me to really tell you
Yeah, you
the
know.
on my you telling me to tell you what I think. I think
Yes, sir.
Floyd best, and it may be crazy, but if you sit down and you think about it, I'm looking at it this way because to a point, me and Floyd was in the same position. Floyd attributes came that he was so great because look, he had three other. Well, I'm gonna say three, but it's really only two. He had three of the best fighters to work with him and groom him as he came along. His dad. One is his dad. Two, he had Roger. Three, I can't say Jeff Mayweather because Jeff Mayweather wasn't as popular and he didn't really fight as good as Floyd Senior and Roger. But you put Roger and Floyd together, Floyd Senior together and put that into Floyd Jr. Yeah,
Mhm.
Floyd is definitely one of the best fighters. I mean, it is what it is.
I mean, you got to have a Tito Jackson, man. We got to show some love to Uncle Jeff. You got to have a Tito. Everybody
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
be Michael.
we give Jeff some of that. But I mean, if you're looking at a pie, you got to give Floyd his dad. You got to give Floyd Senior like at least 80% of that. You got
Yeah,
to, and then
but
you
he
got to
never really
give Roger.
trained. I don't.
Huh?
It's hard for me to do that because the Black Mamba trained him for most of his career. I thought he looked better with
Yeah,
Floyd Senior.
you
But
say that, but you got to think about the years when he was a kid coming up. Who invested their time in the Floyd? Not Roger, his dad. Roger took over later. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, Roger got him when him and Dad kind of spatted out from each other, and it was probably just at the right time where Floyd needed some more tools added to his arsenal. You know what I'm saying? It was like Floyd is a tank. Floyd had a little bit of a tank to do just a little bit damage, but then when Roger came along, he got a whole lot of it. I mean, where was Jeff at? I mean, Jeff is just Uncle Jeff. We don't know what
hey, we gotta have
man.
Uncle Jeff, man. We gotta get some
You
ice cream.
we
You know that.
do, but be honest, when did we really see Uncle Jeff in Floyd's corner? As far as I know of, I might have missed it, but I don't never remember seeing Jeff work with Floyd. I seen Roger and Big Daddy and Senior working with Floyd.
Now I didn't realize this about you, Coach. You pretty rough, man. You rough, man.
No, hey,
You know, you know Uncle
yo,
Jeff can't be everywhere. Hey, like I
hey,
said, somebody got to
where,
be Tito.
yo, where
Somebody
you
got.
from? Where you from?
I'm from Cleveland.
Uh-huh. There it is. I'm
Oh,
from
hey,
Philly, dog. There it is. There it is. There it
hey,
is.
Say
Coach,
no more.
you cold for that, Coach. You cold for that, man. All I can say is
This is
this,
a
man.
sick Negro.
Go ahead, Dub. I know you got something for the coach, man. He from
Hey,
Middle Georgia. I never heard of that, but go ahead, Dub.
Uh, Coach, man, we just had a fight this weekend. I don't know if you've seen it. Where Brian Norman Jr. He just defended the WBO championship.
Man, look.
I ain't asked the question yet.
Look.
I love it. Go ahead.
You, all right, what you about to tell me about Brian Norman Jr.? What actually, because I know you getting ready to size him up with my man Boots. All right. What's the outcome of this? All right, Brian Norman had a knockout. Who did he fight? I don't even know the guy he fought.
Man, come on, Coach. Don't start that.
He fought
Don't
Quaybez.
start that, Coach.
But if you say that about Junior, you got to say the same thing about Boots.
No, we don't.
No, but my thing is this. Boots fought guys that we know about that we didn't really think that Boots would get rid of him the way he did. He got rid of him the way he did. Now y'all guys are kind of hurt, kind of laxing on Boots because of the simple fact that he lost. I can't remember the kid, but the kid he lost to that ran. Well, I ain't gonna say ran, but the kid, the kid that moved a lot on him. Huh?
Karen.
All right. But then Jerron came back and he did what he had to do by winning. Well, the thing of it is, you guys don't understand. With us being boxers and being fighters, it's not really up to us to decide who we fight. Sometimes we can say, all right, we want to fight this guy, and if this guy accepts the challenge, we fight him. But 9 times out of 10, it's not the fighter; it's the promoter. The promoter gets the guy that he feels though that the fighter can get rid of, or the fighter is going to have problems with, and we go out there and we fight him. Now, what's going to happen when Boots go out here and he destroy Stanolius? Then what you gonna say? Y'all gonna say he should fight Brian Norman Jr.?
Well, what's gonna happen is the IBF, they're gonna go ahead and mandate them. They're gonna make their mandate. But after that, you damn right. That's what I want to see. I want to see you fight.
Okay, and then how do you see that fight?
Hey man, I'm picking.
I see Boots going Boots going to bed.
You see Boots going to bed?
Boots. But let me ask you this though, real quick. Yeah, I gotta ask this, Coach. Now I get you from Philly, but let's not act like we haven't been seeing Boots go to the Amazon yard and fight all these cab drivers, man, and these flex drivers, man. Like, for me, beating up the corn, man, that don't give me nothing.
Yeah, but at the same time, that don't mean that he wanted that. That was something that was somebody they put in front of him, and he had to take care. That's just like you get into the pot of gold, and you got such and such in front of you, and you got to get through him to get through the pot of gold, but you don't really want to fight him. But this is a guy that you have to fight. Then what?
You're my brother. I love you, so I don't want to do this, man, because I know y'all like Boots.
Do it.
I don't want to do it. Hey, when he was with Cameron, we know that boy Bozy wanted to bring him along slow. So did Cameron, his old promoter. So when I look at Boots, I think Boots is the kid that's big at the daycare. But when he go to the next level, I just see Brian Norman having him bloody and battered, man. I just don't see him beating a guy like that. A guy who can bring the fight to him. And then on top of that, he like to play too much. He play too much. You see him there dancing, pop locking. That's not gonna work. You can't be playing all that playing in the ring.
Well, we all play sometime in the ring, and sometimes things just don't go the way that we expected to go, or we wanted to go. But my thing is this: I feel as though if you can bite down and make things tough, or you get down and you get nitty gritty, dirty with it, and you do what you have to do, you can get it done. Because there's been many a days that I had to go in my bag to get stuff out and do what I had to do. And it was just sometimes I just couldn't do it. That's just the name of the sport. That's just how it is.
Yeah, but I don't think you known for punching people in the nuts either, Coach. I think that's what we know about Boots. He gonna punch somebody in the nuts. That's what we do know.
You making up stuff now.
No, I'm going on with that. That's what the guys say. That's sparring. That's what they say.
Making up stuff.
You can't believe everything everybody says. Everybody got a different opinion about guys and about the way people fight and how they fight, and if they back up against the wall, what they gonna do. You have to know. You have to really take it in your mindset to be like, look, either he gonna come out of it on top. He gonna do what he got to do to come out on top, or it's just not. I don't want to say it's just not as nice. It's just that the guy was a better guy than him. And I feel as though in the sport, you just have to understand that when it's your night and when it's not your night. Just like when I fought Chavez, I knew that was my last night. I don't care what you said, and I know that I could have beat Chavez that night, but that night was not my night.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dub. Free. I know y'all got something.
Earlier, Coach, you spoke on the rematch with Gotti and how you understood, and we understand how rematches go, especially in close fights. What's your thoughts? Because it seemed like we're gonna get Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. That was a draw. First things first. What did you think about the knee, the hair grease in the eye, all of that stuff that Tank had going on in that fight? What was your thoughts on that first? And then, as far as that fight goes in the rematch, how do you see the rematch playing out?
Well, honestly, if you ask me, I think that to a point, and Sometimes people want to say it's the corner. The corner knows but the fighter. I mean, the corner doesn't know the fighter as well as they think they do, because sometimes a fighter get in a position where he feels though that he outgunned. Anything and everything he do is just not, it's not working. And I think in the fight with Lamont Roach, I think Lamont Roach was the better. Well, he was definitely the better boxer. I think he got off when he was supposed to get off. He didn't get off enough. I would have liked Lamont Roach to got off a lot more quicker and a lot more faster than what he did, but he got off enough. I think he just matched Gervonta Davis in every epic way that he could, even when it came to the punching power, which Lamont Roach is not a big puncher, but he was still able to take Gervonta Davis shots. Like when I fought Gaddy, that was one of the problems that I thought that would be a problem. Not saying that I knew that Gaddy would knock me out, because I felt as though nobody in the lightweight division could knock me out. But I knew, and I said it in the pre-fight interview, and Larry Merchant said it in the fight too, because I watched Gaddy. One thing about Gaddy was that when you got Gaddy hurt, and it wasn't like it was hard to hurt him, because Gaddy defense was dookie. So you can hit Gaddy all the time. But if you cracked him right and you hurt him, you probably could get rid of it. And that was one thing that I said that I wouldn't do, and I did do. And it didn't almost cost me the fight, but it did cost me to walk into a shot that hurt me, that had me on Queer Street. What I said was that when you got Gaddy hurt, you had to know to get away from me. And I did the opposite. When I got him hurt, I jumped on him. And of course, Gaddy was the type of kid that it didn't matter if he was hurt, if he was bleeding, if one of his eyes was closed. He just had it in effect. I don't know how he did it, but when he threw that left hook, both his eyes could be closed. But when he threw that hook, it landed. And that's what it was. When I heard him, I jumped on him, which I said I wouldn't do, and I did. And he caught me, and he hurt me. But the thing was, I was in such great shape in that fight. And like I said before, my hand speed was just better. I was the better boxer. And I just knew in that fight I had to do things different to win that fight. And one thing about that fight, I think in that fight, that was a fight. No, I knew that was a fight that I beat Gaddy. It was a fight that where I was on the lines of beating Gaddy, I could make the money that I wanted to make in my life and in my career. If I messed around and I lost to Gaddy, it was bottoms out for me. And I went in there and I did what I had to do, and I beat him, and I got the money that I expected to get because I beat him. But again, I think they tried to rip me in that first fight, but the fight was too good that they couldn't do that. They gave me the fight like it was supposed to, but they were trying to get me though. They were definitely trying to get me.
In the
So
rematch,
saying that, what do you think?
Real quick, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
In the rematch, who you got? You got Lamont or you got Tank in the rematch?
That fight, that's a gimme fight, because of the simple fact, I think Lamont Roach boxed good, but it's just like I don't bowl, but I've seen people bowl and I've been around it. It's like Lamont Roach and Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis has to get off. He can't sit around and try to and I think him and I think Calvin and them, they know this now. He can't sit back and try to wait for a shot on Lamont Roach, because the more he sit and wait, the more he gonna lose rounds, because Lamont Roach is smart enough to understand he's not gonna run into no shot. He's not gonna be tricked into running into nothing where Gervonta Davis can hurt him and get him out of it. I think Lamont Roach is gonna have to fight a superb fight. It's just sometime in a professional fighter's career, I don't care what you say, but it's millions of fights from now and fights from back in the day that you can pull, that fighters fought excellent fights to win fights. Like me, I fought the perfect fight, the first fight, to win. And then in the second fight, I fought the most fabulous fight in my career, probably, to beat him again for the second time. I think Lamont Roach going to have to fight the perfect fight to beat Gervonta Davis again. Because for one, all it takes is one shot for Gervonta Davis. Gervonta Davis can lose all 9 rounds. And all it takes is one shot to end a fighter's career or to end the fight. I don't know how great Lamont Roach's chin is, because actually in that first fight, I don't think Gervonta Davis landed a solid enough shot that he landed in his previous 30 fights before this one that got rid of the guys that he got rid of. So if Lamont Roach can go out there and box an excellent fight, and it can be done, trust me, it can be done. If he go out there and fight a superb, excellent fight, he can beat Gervonta Davis. But, we all waiting for Gervonta Davis to land that one shot.
And speaking of that, you got anything, Doug? Or are you still going?
Doug just clicked out.
Oh, okay. Speaking of that, man, the reason I asked you about Tank is because I was wondering, do you think he kind of got exposed, or you think Tank is as good as they say?
Well, people don't understand fighters. People just see us. They see us go out there, fight for money, go out there, fight guys and beat guys and be spectacular and, be on top of the world, just stand up. But people don't understand that besides being a fighter, we are human beings too. We have lives. We have things that we have to do. We have family. We have kids. We have wives. All that pays an effect when it comes to boxing. People don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? And I think right now at this point, honestly, I think Gervonta Davis done got to a point where he's kind of, I don't want to say big-headed, but I think he's to the point where he think he's really invisible. And he's not. He's really not. A guy like Lamont Roach, I think he need to stay away from a person like Keyshawn Davis or what's the other kid name?
Devin Haney?
Devin Haney or Shakur? No. The other kid. What's his name? His name start with an M.
Tiafimo?
No. Yeah, he'll probably bust Tiafimo.
You talking about Raymond Muratado?
No, what is it? I can't think of his name. But
Abdullah Mason?
Devin, huh?
Abdullah Mason?
Yeah, Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason, and I think Abdullah Mason.
Go.
I really like Abdullah Mason. I really do.
You do?
I do. Yeah, I like Abdullah.
Over
really
Emiliano?
No, not over Emiliano. I think he'd give Tank Davis trouble. See, I think any boxer with good hand speed and can throw punches and combinations that give Tank trouble. As long as you got Tank on his back heels, backing up, that's a problem. But as long as Tank coming forward, that's his name. He's a Tank. He's definitely a Tank.
So he's the classic power puncher where you can, if you put him on his back foot, you can neutralize him.
I think you can. Nobody has. Who has? Tell me who has.
Well, he hasn't really fought anybody but a couple of Gardners and a couple of brothers. I mean,
there you go. There you go. And we all loving him, right?
I think he get a lot of love because he hung out with Floyd.
You stupid.
No. I mean, you hang out with Floyd, you're gonna blow up.
Oh my God, really? Okay, that's cool.
See, hey, Coach, you see what we deal with on a daily basis? We deal with this on a regular basis. Right here.
I got you.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Coach. Yeah. Now, I'm going to keep it real because you're my brother and I love you, man. I'm going to tell you the truth, man.
I appreciate you. I appreciate it.
Hey, Coach, let me ask you. I know you had a big event on January 25th. You got any other events coming up?
No, not really. I'm trying to put something together. Me and my partner Mike Minor, we trying to put something together. I definitely let y'all know when we doing something. I really want to do something for the city, man. I mean, people keep saying to me that boxing is getting ready to hit rock bottom. So I'm always trying to do what I can to make spice it up, keep the city on a map, and just connect with whoever I connect with, who I can connect with to help these youngsters see that boxing is, I don't want to say is an scapegoat, but basically that's what it is. When you got a bunch of these young fellas out here talking about guns and beating people up and all, I'm not with that.
Yeah.
I'm not with that.
Yeah. I know you saw the recent news about Turkey and he trying to start his own league or whatever. But how do you feel about PBC and Top Rank joining together to put on boxing matches and try to join forces?
Even though I don't. PBC hasn't really been around that long to get a lot of backlash like Top Rank. When it comes to they don't how they move their fighters and Bob Aaron don't want to mess with certain fighters, things of that nature. But it's good to see that PBC and Top Rank can work together, and we can get these fights back together and get these fighters to hopefully fight against each other. It's all about nowadays everybody losing a not wanting to take a L. I mean, like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, when we came up, true. But when we came up, you know what I'm saying, it didn't matter. I mean, a guy could be 31-21. If he knocked off the ex-champion and beat up a couple other guys, he got a title shot. Guys nowadays, they're not getting it unless they're still undefeated. And it hurts the sport.
Well, you saying that, Coach, what do you think about the hometown kid getting robbed? The first fight was a pay, and then unfortunately only getting a draw the second fight. What do you think about that?
Hold up, say that again. Who was that? Talking about
Tevin Farmer. Yeah.
I didn't. You know what? That's crazy. I love Tevin. I've been around Tevin a long time, and Tevin was one of those type young fighters who came up after me that nobody even thought of. You know what I'm saying? He had a losing record. You know what I'm saying? He was basically at the bottom of the pit, but he fought his way back, and he stayed with it. He got a title fight. He won. People still didn't think that he was verbal enough to do what he did, and he did some great things. The first fight was a draw with the kid, and he got a second fight again. It was like I was in and out on that fight. I didn't really see that fight too much, but the way that I was told about it in the clips I was told about it's kind of hard to say. I mean, are they gonna fight a third time, or is it done, or is he done?
No, they shouldn't fight a third time. No,
we don't need a third fight. No.
He dropped him again, but they didn't count it. So I mean, that was the only part that kind of sucked. They tried to say it was a rabbit punch, but he dropped him. Man, that's crazy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And somebody said to me it was what they say? It was a lucky shot, or I said, man, boxing ain't luck, man. Dog, you don't get hit and go down on some luck shit. You get hit, you get hurt. First thing you do, you go down. So that was a knockdown. Just like the situation with Tank. I mean, I can't really say what the situation was with Tank, but him going down, that was definitely an A count. I mean, I don't know if he had grease in his eyes or whatever the case may be. You should have went down, took your little A count, and then told the ref what the deal was, and the ref would have escorted you over to your corner after you got your A count. And then you just had to go in and do what you had to do. But,
have you ever seen anything like that, Coach? Like the ref started a count. He actually started a count. Now, you being experienced the way you are, the man started counting. Have you ever seen a referee stop the count and say, well, what's happening? And then nobody act like nothing never happened. With all the experience you have, Coach, have you ever seen that?
Nope. The only time I seen a referee stop a count was when he's getting ready to walk you behind to the corner because you was getting ready to get escorted out because you lost.
That's a fact.
That's a big fact. That's
the truth.
I mean, I've never seen that before. I know if you didn't see it, none of us seen it. Like, I've never seen it.
Never.
So when you see a guy that little at lightweight, How bad would you have beat Tank Davis? Because I know you're about 5'9". How bad would you be the guy who's 5'2" at lightweight?
Man, I mean, it's hard to say. I don't want to make it seem like that I'm better than anybody, but my skills was just different. A guy at 5'2", if he would have beat me or been all up in me, beat me to the body and stuff, I would have had to take that. I would have had problems when I went to the corner with my dad, so and I didn't want that. So and I tell him,
you didn't want that slap.
yeah, and it's not funny, but I tell people this all the time. I'm only scared of 3 people: the IRS, child support, and my dad.
Hey, they'll get you.
Hey, I'll be telling my brother Prize that I don't know if you can see him, Coach. He got that watch on again. I keep telling him child support gonna come pick his ass up.
I don't believe child support, Coach. Because I do what I'm supposed to do with my daughters. I do what I'm supposed to do with my daughters, and there is no need for that because I'm a provider. That's what I do.
It is.
Sound good, don't it, Coach?
That's a fact, Coach. That's a fact. South Jersey has been good to me.
Hey, Coach, that sounds good. You get down there with Mr. Gilmore. He don't see that. But speaking of that, because we'll have you here all day, man. We'll have you here all day. My last question is this, Coach. This is my last question, Coach. So, what would you say to somebody who's going through a tough time and they don't really see any light and they kind of feel like, man, will this ever end? And said they've been going through this for like a year. What would be your best advice for them?
My best advice is as far as them being a boxer or just life period?
Just in life period.
You have to. I think that you need to take time to sit back. I'm not a real spiritual type guy, but sit back and talk to God, man, and you got to have somebody else you can talk to, like brother, sister, father, mother, uncle, somebody sit back and talk to, because at the end of the day, things may seem bad, but they're not as bad as you think they are if you just sit back and take time to think about what it is that you need to do. Trust and believe you can do whatever you can do that you put your mind to. Ain't nothing that I haven't done that I haven't put my mind to, besides be a millionaire. But you know what? At the end of the day, that don't even matter to me, man. That don't even matter to me. What matters to me is that I'm living well. I'm saying I can help these kids. And they respect me. That's all I've asked for is respect. That goes a long way. And like my dad always told me, he said, always what you got is your respect and your name. That's what you got. That's what holds you to do what you do. So I'm good.
Hey, I got one.
That's beautiful, man.
Go ahead, Doug. Coach, who are some of the favorite or some of your favorite fighters to watch today? If I were to say, give me your top 5 pound for pound, who would you put on that list?
You mean today's fighters, or you mean
today's fighters?
Like Canelo.
Don't laugh. None of them.
That's up Canelo, right?
Exactly.
Canelo. None of them.
No. All right. Then who are your favorite fighters of all time? Then your favorite fighters that you watched growing up. Your favorite fighters of all time. Give me your top 5. I know that's hard. I know it's hard.
Yeah, it's very hard because it doesn't matter who I pick. I'm always going to miss somebody. Because there's going to be somebody that I know that should have been in that top 5 or that top 10, but I picked somebody else. So, all right. I got to go with Big George Foreman as one.
Big George.
Rest Big George.
Big George, man. R.I.P.
Yeah,
Big George.
My man Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker. Got to go with Whitaker.
Shout out to Sweet Pea, one of the greatest defensive fighters of all time.
No doubt.
Rest in peace, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. James Toney.
Shout out to James Toney, man. I love James Toney.
JT. Oh wow, that's a shocker.
Really? Why?
He fought everybody, man.
He fought everybody.
Don't get me started on it.
Yeah. let Coach finish.
I'm just messing with you, Coach. I'm just messing with you, Coach.
Let Coach finish his list.
That's what, 3?
That's
Yes,
3.
sir.
Yeah.
Roy Jones.
Yep.
Roy Jones, Matt
Even with the drugs?
Huh?
Even though he was a drug cheat?
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
You, bro.
Here we go.
I gotta ask you, Coach. I mean, I gotta ask. He was a treater, man.
Huh? He was a who?
He got caught on drugs.
Who? Roy?
Yeah.
No, I ain't hear that.
Yeah, Roy Pop.
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
And I talked to Roy at least like 3 times out of the month. I talked to Roy, so we ain't never talked or discussed that.
Well, I'll only say this: Reggie Sweet Johnson said that most folk was juicing when they fought. That's what Reggie told.
Yo, let me tell you something. Anybody that you knock out always got a reason to say something bad about you. Come on, man, stop playing. You already know that.
You cold. I'm about to talk to Reggie. You said that you cold, man.
And the number one guy is the guy from Philly. Oh shoot, what's his name? Damn.
Cassius Clay.
Is it Frazier? Is it Frazier or is it Bernard?
Hopkins?
Neither one of them two.
Oh,
Ivan Robinson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I'm getting
I love it, but I got a question. My man Picasso, I want me to ask you this. He's a day walker, so this is a special question. He said, what do you think about Errol Spence and Jamel Charlo coming back?
Well, I'm gonna start with Earl Spence. I love Earl Spence. He was trained by one of my teammates, Derek James. I think Earl Spence is done. Because of the simple fact that them car crashes really did something to him.
Yeah.
It really hurt him, man. I think that I don't think he should get in the ring and fight no more. But I mean, that's his decision. Truthfully, if he go get checked by a real doctor or a certified doctor or whatever the best doctor in the world, and they run tests on him, and they might find something. If they don't, I mean, he can continue with his career. But I don't really see him. I really don't see him getting too far. I really don't. I heard something about him and Terrence Crawford fighting again. I don't think that's a fight he should take. Maybe he should take somebody like I don't even think he should take Fendor. Fendor punches too much, too regular for him, but that may be a fight he want to take. I don't know. Charlo, I think he just, I don't know.
He a monster.
He is a monster. He was a monster.
There we go.
When the last time he fought, dog?
Canelo.
He fought the best fighter in the world, Canelo.
He hasn't fought since he fought Canelo. That was like.
If you want to talk about somebody running, if BBO, you want to talk about somebody running in a fight.
Yeah.
Who could he? Would he fight at 54? Right? No, he fight at 60.
No, he's 54.
He going back to 54. He going back to 54.
He going back to 54. Yeah, okay. But at 54, if he could fight a top contender or world champion, and he dust him and he beat him pretty good, then I mean we gotta see, because sometimes some fighters have one fight left in their tank where they can do something. But I mean, I don't look for him to have no longevity career after him being out 2 years. I mean, it's too much. 2 years is too long, dog. Your mobility is not the same. You don't move the same no more. Your punches ain't right. You don't get out the way. It's just so much. It's just
and he's coming down in weight too, Coach.
He's coming down in weight.
I mean, he fought at 68, and if he campaigns at 54, then you got that factor in there as well.
I mean, he went up to 68 for one fight. He fought at 54, became undisputed, then went up to 68 to fight Canelo. Now he's coming back down.
Right.
And he hasn't fought since September 30th, 2023.
There you go. That's what I'm saying.
we got to remember this though, Coach. You know, Canelo's the same guy that had Andre Ward scared to come back to boxing. So I don't blame him.
Like, oh my God.
What?
This is
I'm
crazy.
just messing with you,
This
Coach.
guy crazy, man.
I'm just messing with you, Coach.
This guy crazy.
I just
man.
said that.
Yeah.
I just said to get you going, man.
He's terrible.
He's terrible. Ain't he?
Yeah,
Hey,
crazy,
Coach,
man.
he's
Terrible.
Hey, I'm your
Yeah.
brother, man. Don't say that. I'm your brother, man. Don't say that.
You are my brother. And if you my brother, I can tell you terrible, man.
Deontay
Hey,
Wilder.
we did see Andre leave his
Terrible,
boots at the
man.
house when he said Canelo was there. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I really think Andre Ward would have fought Canelo. I really think he would have fought Canelo, and I think he would have gave Canelo some problems.
Andre would have destroyed Canelo. Let's be honest.
You see what he did? You see what he did to Kovalev, right?
Who?
Yeah,
You see what he did to Kovalev?
Oh,
but see, that was the thing. See, that's the thing about the boxing world. You can, I mean, if a guy is good enough, he can expose you to certain things that you've never been exposed to. Everybody get exposed, man, sometime in their career. Everybody don't go along not being exposed. Look, Ray Robinson, he fought 118 fights. He got exposed. Ray Leonard got exposed. Roberto Duran got exposed. Man, we all get exposed.
Well, Ray Leonard ran though. Ray Leonard ran. He ran from my guy from Cincinnati. He ran from
Aaron Pryor?
The Hawk. Yeah,
Okay.
you know who he ran from.
Okay.
He ran from Aaron Pryor.
Man, he ain't run from no Hawk. They offer Hawk a fight. Hawk want more money.
Yeah.
Aaron Pryor had him scared to death. But we ain't gonna keep him too much longer, Coach. We appreciate you, man. I hope to have you back. I'm gonna get your information from Crush, man, because it's been a great conversation. And we just some crazy boxing degenerates like to talk boxing, man. My man, Puerto Rican Free, he look black, but he Puerto Rican. He know a little bit about boxing. My man from Middle Georgia, he know a little bit. And Prize, man, he just come on here to show us off his watch, man. Yeah, he just bring his watch.
I don't know why
man.
he's
He go to the
obsessed with
garment
my
district
watch.
and buy all his clothes. Then he show us his watch. That's what he do.
Maybe I should get him one and he would stop talking about. He's the only one that talks about my watch, but whatever. What do I know?
You know in Jutong where they sell the clothes at? That's where you'll see Prize.
You definitely won't catch me there. You definitely won't catch me there.
With the Nike check suit. You know they sell the Nike check suit at the barber shop?
You know
You
where
will
they
see
catch
him
me
there.
at, Coach? They catch me up in the King of Pressure. That's where they catch me at. But what do I know? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You don't believe that, Coach, do you? They used to turn him upside down on the train back in the day in North Philly. Like upside down. They would turn him upside down.
I don't know what this guy is. This guy
Here we go,
he deal with
Coach.
this on a daily basis, Coach. You know.
Oh, before you go, Coach, can you shout out my man Clarence, man? Can you shout out my man Clarence McLean? He actually just is on Ramadan, man. So shout out my man Clarence if you can.
Yeah, that's my man Clarence from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. He good brother, man. One of my favorite Muslims.
Yeah, that's my guy. What's up, Clarence?
Hey, you know, he owe me some bean pies and oils though, Coach.
That's crazy.
If you see him, tell him to give me my money back, man, to bring my stuff.
That's crazy.
All right, that's what's up. I'm gonna get him down here. When we get him down here, we're jumping.
Hey, so people know Clarence is not a Muslim, man. I'm just having some fun with him, man. Yeah. But that's all we got. We appreciate you, Coach. We're gonna hit you back soon, man. And I'm telling you, I'm shocked about what you said about Canelo, man. You kind of broke my heart tonight when you said that stuff about Canelo, man.
I'm not.
You know, man, Andre Ward didn't want to see no Canelo, man.
Canelo is a great fighter, man. I can't take my hand. I mean, I can't say nothing bad about Canelo. Canelo's a great fighter, but Andre Ward is something different. He's definitely something different, and I think that he probably would have gave Canelo problems.
Shout out to SOG, man.
He would have beat Canelo to death.
Shout out to SOG.
I gotta make sure.
You sound like BBO, man.
I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose.
You say did on purpose?
You know, I gotta say this, Coach. Let me say this real quick.
You out of order.
That's all I can say.
I gotta make sure.
Well, appreciate you, Coach, man.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all guys having me on.
Hey, much love, Coach. Much love.
I'll talk to you soon, man. Take care.
All All right. Peace.
Go Browns, right? Go Browns, right, Coach?
Go who?
Coach
No.
knows
Go
Bird Gang
Eagles.
all day. Bird Gang
Browns.
all day.
All day.
The real
All
Bird
day.
Gang, by the way.
Man, go Cowboys.
Oh, I see you, Coach. That was a great interview,
All right.
man. I appreciate the coach coming through, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still up there.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I
Coach.
gotta make sure,
That was
I
a great.
gotta make sure I clipped this live when he said, "Man, everybody talk about Canelo, but Canelo wasn't. I mean, Oscar, but Oscar wasn't all that." I gotta clip that. I gotta clip that.
Yeah.
He wasn't all that.
He wasn't all that.
Hey, Dub, did I get it right this time?
Hell no.
Hey, Dub, you see I got it right this time. What is it? Middle Georgia, right?
Oh no, you got that right. You did get that right.
Oh, Middle Georgia.
See, I didn't say Riverdale. I said Middle Georgia. See,
I appreciate
Riverdale.
that. I appreciate that, my brother. I appreciate that.
He said,
hey, but that was a great interview, man. Shout out to Crush, man. I don't know what happened to the old man, but shout out to Crush, man, setting that up. That was a great interview. Coach was funny. He was doing a lot of, he was being a little silly saying that, Abdullah Mason can beat the Nuliano. We don't believe that, but
here we go.
appreciate the coach.
Let the man words stand how they are, man.
Oh
Let
my
his words
God, he
stand.
tried to come and reword it that fast, Dub.
You see
that
how they
fast.
do it? You see how
That's
you do
crazy.
Like I told you, Ivan is.
All I can say, man, is this. Great God, man. All I can say to you and Dub is this.
You out of order. Hey, I can't be out of order. That's my damn voice. What you talking about? Shit.
That nigga Dub telling himself he out of order.
Yeah, this nigga wild. Man.
That's crazy.
But no, a hell of an interview. Hell of an interview.
And shout out to the chat too. The chat was very active today. Appreciate y'all.
Shout out to Leading Lady, man. Shout out to Troy. Shout out to Picasso. Shout out to Clarence.
Scholar, boxing
Shout out to
scholar,
Jake Gibson.
GP.
Let me see who else is in here. Shout out to Hurt or Be Hurt. Shout out to Dank's father.
Yeah, condolences.
Oh yeah, condolences to Toya, man. We praying for you, man. That's rough, man.
Sorry to hear about your auntie.
Brutal. Sorry about that.
Maybe we might have my man Price have sell us some fake clothes so we can put that up.
Oh, BBO, he the only one to know where to get fake stuff from. I don't even know where to get it from. Because if I could get it, I probably would.
But no, we having fun. You know what, man?
Yeah, always.
Shout out to the Mighty Sports Talk Network. They said we weren't gonna do it. We coming to take over. Y'all boys get ready. Because don't forget, we got the best night show coming on, the star of us all. They call him our Hall of Boxing Talk. Dub Right Side's coming up. So y'all get ready. What time you coming on, Dub?
Hey man, 11:30, somewhere between 11:30 and 11:45. We will be on. We covering all the hot topics tonight, man. I got some good things coming though. We got some good things coming as a team as well.
Bet. Thanks.
I'm excited, man. Just remember, whenever you think about Dub,
You out of order.
That's all you got to remember when you think about Dub. On that note, we going, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You
have something, Dub, before we go?
No, we good. We good.
Go ahead, Dub. You got something? We still here? I'm from Cleveland. I think
Baltimore, Atlanta. We from all over.
GA
and somewhere in Middle Georgia. Huh?
Man,
that sound like Dub got that money. If he out in the sticks, that's what that sound like to me. I mean,
yeah, he out there in Middle. Hey, you ever heard of that? Middle. He out there where Shannon Sharp was.
You know what?
Got indoor plumbing.
When you move into a place where you never heard of, that means you're doing well.
Hey, look, Shannon Sharp. He from the South. He from South Georgia. He ain't from Middle Georgia now. Get it right. Get it right.
Anyway, we out here, y'all. Peace. Shout out to our sponsors.
Salute.